If you want to become a highly paid, sought after, and completely irreplaceable copywriter who thrives even in the age of AI, stays fully booked with your dream clients, and stands head and shoulders above the rest, then there are 5 very important skills that you must master. And plot twist, they have absolutely nothing to do with writing. Keep watching. Hey Posse, what's up? It's Alex coming at you this week with a topic that is top of mind for a lot of new and aspiring copywriters right now. Alex, in the age of AI, can copywriters still be successful? It is a question I get all the time. And I am here to tell you that yes, it is absolutely more than possible to be wildly successful as a copywriter right now. In fact, I think there's more opportunity than ever before. Because the truth is, there is so much crappy, irrelevant, and unreliable content being published on the internet right now that it is becoming an even bigger yawn fest than it was before. And that is really, really great news for you, because as we speak, the smartest brands and businesses out there are doubling down on their messaging so they can rise up above the noise, and they are looking for real copywriters who can help them. I'd even go so far as to say that human copywriters are more needed now than ever before. But I will say it a million times, copywriting is more than just throwing words on a page. And in this video, I'll share with you 5 powerful ways to become a better copywriter, stand out, and get paid. But first, if you're new to the crew, welcome. Right here on my channel, you will find a massive library filled to the brim with modern marketing training to help you ignite your business. From copywriting, marketing, branding, social media, and so much more. So make sure to subscribe to my channel below, and don't forget to ring that bell to be notified when my next video goes live. Now, I am just gonna come right out and say it, and stick with me here, because this is literally the #1 reason you will fail as a copywriter. If you think all you need to do is slap some random words in a Google Doc and bada bing, cha-ching, you're done, then you are in for a big wake-up call. Because as you've already probably seen, AI can do exactly that. In fact, a 10-year-old could ask ChatGPT to write them a sales page, then simply copy, paste, and publish. So if that's your strategy, then I'd say you might as well quit right now, because you're already doomed. The truth is, AI can pump out copy that's just as good as what most people who call themselves copywriters can produce. Now, I'm not trying to be shady, but most people who call themselves copywriters aren't really interested in learning what it takes to become a highly paid, highly sought after copywriter. I know it breaks my big copywriter heart too, but there is no such thing as an overnighter copywriter. And here's why that is such great news for you. AI just wiped out a ton of your competition. Yep, think about that for a second. Gone are the days of someone buying a generic copywriting template or an AI prompt package online and calling themselves a copywriter. And that is the problem with most copywriting courses out there today. They only give you one teeny tiny part of what it really takes to write great copy, and it leaves you unprepared, appearing unprofessional, and quite frankly, completely replaceable. Because all of these templates and tools that everyone is tripping over themselves to get their hands on are only useful if you know what in the hell you're doing. A shortcut is only a shortcut if you know where you're actually going. Yes, you need to understand foundational marketing strategy before you can rely on a template or even think about using AI in a powerful way. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure. In fact, a while back, I was messaging with my good friend and serial entrepreneur, Mark Ling, who has helped build dozens of successful companies and has hired countless copywriters over his 20-year career. So I asked him, hey Mark, what makes a copywriter really stand out above the rest? And here's what he said. Copywriters who get that copy isn't just a sales page is certainly gonna make them stand out. They get that sales can be improved by email follow-ups, a webinar, abandoned cart sequence, relevant upsells, retargeted ads, etc. And having a portfolio, even if it's just one site done super well. So what you need to understand is that the sales process is actually an entire ecosystem, a series of ads, landing pages, sales pages, and emails that need to connect in one cohesive funnel if you want to have any chance of it working and converting. And smart businesses know that. So I will say it again, the copywriters who will thrive today are the ones who future-proof their skills with foundational marketing principles. Oh yeah, and they actually give a shit. And I know that was a really long intro, but the fact that you're here learning how to become a better copywriter means you are already a cut above the rest. And now let's dive into the 5 marketing principles that you need to understand if you want clients to choose you above anyone else every single time, and why they will continue to hire you and pay you again and again and again. Now, these 5 principles are actually the foundation of my 8-week copywriting coaching program, the Copy Posse Launch Files. That's right, before I have any of my students actually write any copy, I make sure they truly grasp each and every one of these 5 foundational and highly paid skills. So let's dive in. Marketing principle number 1, market sophistication. Market sophistication is quite simply the number 1 messaging secret to make anything you write sell like hotcakes, and it lies at the foundation of every single word that you put out there. So what actually is market sophistication? Well, it's a concept coined by marketing genius Eugene Schwartz, an author of Breakthrough Advertising. Now, you can see that I have a copy of this book right here. It is truly amazing. It is like the marketers and copywriters Bible, and I'll drop a link below to the official reseller where you can get your hands on a copy too. But it is a heavy read, so let me break down the nuts and bolts for you right here. Market sophistication simply refers to the stage of market awareness for whatever product or business you're writing for. From stage 1, where a product is brand new to the market and has never been done before, all the way to stage 5, where the market is so oversaturated and people are so tired of hearing about it that they might not even be listening anymore, or even worse, they're actively looking for reasons to count you out. Pinpointing exactly where your product falls on this scale is wildly important because it massively impacts the direction and positioning of your messaging. And inside week 1 of the Copy Posse Launch Files, I go into so much more detail about each and every stage with tons of examples, prompts, and a workbook to guide you through the whole process, and you will find a link to that below this video. All right, now let's move on to marketing principle number 2, customer profiling. So one of the biggest mistakes that a copywriter can make is not getting into the minds of their customers as soon as humanly possible. You have to make sure that you really, truly understand who the right customer is in order to be persuasive in your messaging. Otherwise, absolutely everything you write will fall flat. When you get clear on your ideal customer persona and can predict their core fears, needs, and desires, you can craft relatable messaging using specific psychological triggers that'll make eager buyers tick and click. And to drive this point home, I always like to refer to one of my favorite quotes ever. It is called One Sentence Persuasion by Blair Warren. He says, "People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies." Now, the best copywriters understand this better than anyone else and will never write a single word of copy until they know exactly who they are writing for. And while AI can help you generate source copy once you know who your audience is, without this foundational step, you are seriously stabbing in the dark. That's why in week 2 of the Copy Posse Launch Files, I help you get crystal clear on who your customer persona is and teach you 23 of the most effective psychological triggers that you can use in your messaging. All right, now let's move on to principle number 3, storytelling. Storytelling is the soul of exceptional copywriting. It creates believability, trust, and authority, and is the most powerful way to inspire your customers to take action. Stories evoke all of your audience's senses and emotions in a way that no other form of communication can. And when you learn the right way to sell with story, your copy practically writes itself, and you sell without really having to sell at all. So what is the right way to tell a story, you ask? Well, let me tell you. It turns out that great stories are so much more than just a chance encounter or something that only gifted people can accomplish. In fact, all great stories have a lot more in common than you might think. They can actually be broken down into a very straightforward 3-step process. And this is where I'm going to nerd out a little bit with you and talk about neuroscience. So in order to tell a great story, you need to communicate to 2 very different parts of the brain, the neocortex and the limbic system. So the neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language, where the limbic system is responsible for all of our feelings like trust and loyalty, and it's responsible for all human behavior and decision making, yet it has no capacity for language. Super interesting, right? So in layman's terms, a good story conveys the what, the how, and the why in a way that is relatable, so it makes your audience think, oh my God, that could be me. Next, it's descriptive. It evokes all the senses and emotions in a way that just copywriting could never do alone. It talks to that emotional limbic system. And then lastly, it introduces an obstacle and the solution. It creates creates a need and then solves that need, that logical reasoning that really speaks to the neocortex. So how you accomplish those things is totally up to you. And inside week 3 of the Copy Posse launch files, I'll teach you 8 of my absolute favorite storytelling formulas that you can use in your messaging and create your own story structures. All right, now let's move on to marketing principle number 4, hooks. No matter your product, service, or niche, we are all in the attention and retention business first. So arguably, the most important skill in copywriting is knowing how to create show-stopping headlines and hooks. Now, they may be bite-sized, but these punchy little phrases can be the difference between copy that converts and copy that just totally flops. And a copywriting legend, Eugene Schwartz, author of Breakthrough Advertising, said it best when he said, "Your headline only has one job: to stop your prospect and compel them to read the second sentence of your ad, and your second sentence to read the third sentence, and so on." So what makes a good headline, you might be wondering? Well, I like to teach my students what I call my hot headline formula, where H is for hook. That is the big idea that gets people interested in what you have to say and what you have to offer. A good hook hooks attention, right? It must be relevant, valuable, and of course, truthful, so no clickbait here. O is for open loop, and that's any concept or idea which naturally forces the brain to seek out some sort of conclusion, and it creates that curiosity gap where people have to know what's next. And finally, T is for target audience. Who are you talking to? Your headline should call out your audience either indirectly or directly, and there are tons of different types of hooks and headline frameworks out there, and I teach 16 of my favorite hooks inside week 4 of the Copy Posse launch files. All right, moving on to the last foundational marketing principle that I teach all of my students before they actually write a single word of copy. Marketing principle number 5, offers. All right, so now you have a pretty solid foundation up until this point. You know how to position your copy according to market sophistication. You've identified exactly who your ideal customer is, and more importantly, how to speak to their core fears, needs, and desires. You know how to craft a relatable and engaging story that activates both the limbic and the neocortex of the reader. And you know how to write hot headlines and hooks that will capture their attention and keep them reading and scrolling. And now it's time to learn how to structure an offer that builds trust, creates authority, and boosts conversions. Now, the basic framework that I teach my students is all mapped out in my free 10-point hot offer checklist, and you can go ahead and grab your copy of that below. I go through this checklist in depth along with detailed step-by-step strategies on how to write an irresistible offer inside week 5 of the Copy Posse launch files. This training alone is over 90 minutes long, so there is way too much for me to cover in a 10-minute video. It literally took me 8 years to develop this proven and streamlined process, and inside this program, you will get the ultimate shortcut to igniting your copywriting business in just 8 weeks. And you won't just walk away with the foundational copywriting principles and marketing strategies that business owners need right now more than ever before, but I will guide you step by step as you write an impressive portfolio that oozes with emotion, originality, and personality in a way that no tool or fool could ever replicate. Simply put, give me 8 weeks and I'll give you what you need to become a highly paid, highly sought after, and completely irreplaceable copywriter who thrives even in the age of AI, stays fully booked with your dream clients, and stands head and shoulders above the rest. So you can learn more about the Copy Posse Launch Files program in the description box below, along with links to other videos where I go into more detail on the principles that I shared in this video today. Give me a thumbs up below if you found this video helpful. I will be back next week with a brand new tutorial. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to check out the next one from me right here. And you can click right here to get a free gift. Are you ready for this? I hope so, because I am going to demystify marketing in less than 10 minutes. The marketing plan I'm about to show you is so simple that anyone can replicate it, even if you're a total beginner. But don't let that fool you, because it works and it will get you results if you follow it carefully, so keep watching.